A love that cannot be explained. I do not know how to begin this story, because every time I think about her, every time I whisper her name, even in silence, the air around me shifts, as if the universe itself trembles at the memory of what I have loved and lost. It is a love that defies reason, one that should never have existed, one that no priest would bless, and no poet would dare to romanticize, because it is a love soaked in blood, shadow, and terror. Yet it is mine, and though the world may damn me, I cannot deny it. For even now, as I write this with trembling hands, I feel her presence beside me, cold and eternal, whispering promises that reach beyond the grave. I first saw her on a night that was not meant for encounters of love. It was the kind of night that villagers warned their children about, when the moon hid behind a veil of clouds, and the wind carried the smell of rain mixed with something metallic, something like rust or blood. I was walking home from the university, my books clutched against my chest, when the power across the town suddenly went out. The streets, once lit by flickering lamps, were drowned in blackness. That was when I felt it, the heavy gaze of someone unseen, following me, pulling me into the hollow silence of an empty street. Then she appeared. At first, only her outline, a pale figure in the dark, standing still beneath the gnarled branches of an acacia tree. I stopped breathing. She was beautiful in a way that unsettled me, her face too perfect, her skin almost glowing, her hair long and black as though it had been spun from the night itself. But it was her eyes that arrested mine, that reflected no light, eyes that seemed to look through me, into me, stripping away everything I pretended to be. "Are you lost?" I asked, though my voice cracked with fear. She smiled, and with that smile, all fear should have fled. But instead, something else bloomed inside me, a heat in my chest, a trembling yearning that had no name. She shook her head slowly, her lips parting just enough to speak, though her words were carried by a voice softer than the wind. "No, I've been waiting for me." From that night on, I saw her everywhere. Sometimes in the library, standing between the shelves, though I never saw her walk in. Sometimes outside my window, when I studied late, her reflection appearing even when the glass showed nothing else. She never spoke much, only smiled, only lingered, only reached out as if she longed to touch me but could not. And I, foolish and enchanted, let myself fall deeper into the mystery of her presence. Her name, she told me one night, was Elara. She said it with hesitation, as though the name was borrowed, as though it did not belong to her anymore. When I asked where she lived, she only laughed and said, "Nowhere you can follow." But I did not care. I was in love. Not the kind of love built on dinners and flowers and casual laughter, but the kind of love that consumes, that burns away reason, that infects the bones until nothing else matters. I did not realize at first that others could not see her. I would speak to her in hallways, and people would stare at me as though I had lost my mind. My friends grew concerned, whispering behind my back, avoiding my gaze. My mother begged me to see a doctor, thinking the stress of law school had driven me mad. But when I was alone, she was real. She touched my face with fingers that were ice. She kissed me with lips that stole the breath from my lungs. She whispered into my ears in a language I did not know, yet somehow understood. It was only when I followed her one night that the truth began to unravel. She had asked me to walk with her through the fields beyond the town, where the grass grew wild and the trees bent like crooked guardians. The air was heavy, the crickets silent. I should have known then, but love blinds, and I was too far gone. We walked until we reached the ruins of an old house, charred and broken, its windows gaping like empty sockets, its roof collapsed. She stopped there, her eyes fixed on the blackened walls. "This was my home," she whispered. I asked what had happened, but she did not answer. Instead, she reached for my hand, and when our skin touched, I saw it all. Flames consuming the wooden walls, screams piercing the night, a figure trapped inside, her hair aflame, her body writhing as smoke filled her lungs. I felt her agony, I felt her death, and when the vision faded, I fell to my knees, gasping. You're not." She knelt before me, her hands cupping my face, her eyes burning into mine. "Does it matter?" she asked. "You love me, I love you. That is enough." And God loved me. It was. From that night on, our love grew darker. She would come to me only after midnight, when the world slept, when shadows ruled. Our kisses were desperate, hungry, laced with the bitterness of knowing we had no place in daylight. I grew pale, restless, my health waning as if her touch drained something from me each time. But I did not care. I needed her, as one needs air, as one needs water. She was my addiction, my ecstasy, my torment. Yet, as all cursed loves do, ours began to demand more. She grew restless, longing not only for my affection, but for something deeper, something I did not understand. Her whispers became commands. She would ask me to cut my palm and let her taste the blood. She would press her lips against my throat, inhaling as though my pulse was music. The first time she bit me, I cried out in pain, but the pain twisted into pleasure, a rush that left me trembling and wanting more. I tried to keep it hidden, but soon people noticed. My neck bore marks I could not explain. My skin turned cold, my eyes hollow. Priests whispered of possession, doctors of delusion. But I laughed at them all. They had never known love like this. They had never held eternity in their arms. Still, there were nights when terror seeped through my madness. Sometimes I would wake to find her staring at me, her eyes darker than usual, her mouth smeared with something red. Sometimes I would hear scratching on my window, even when she stood beside me. Once I saw her reflection in the mirror, and it was not her face, but something twisted, something monstrous, with teeth too sharp and eyes like pits of void. "Who are you?" I asked her once, trembling. She kissed me, her lips tasting of iron. "I am yours, and you are mine. That is all you need to know." But deep down, I knew she was not meant for this world. She belonged to shadows, to death, to something older and crueler than human understanding. And I, blind, desperate fool that I was, had invited her into my soul. The end came on a storm-laden night. She told me she could no longer bear the half-life we shared. She wanted me fully, eternally. She wanted me to cross the veil with her, die with me, she whispered, her hands on my chest, her body pressing against mine. Let go of this world. Come where love has no end. I wept. I confessed I was afraid. But she smiled that beautiful, terrible smile. And in her eyes I saw not malice, but devotion. A love so absolute it eclipsed everything else. So I agreed. She led me back to the ruins of her home, where the rain beat against the broken walls and thunder split the sky. There she kissed me one last time, and her teeth sank deep into my throat. I felt the warmth of my blood rushing out, felt the world dimming, felt my body collapsing. Yet in that agony, I also felt bliss, for I was with her, always with her. But something went wrong. My heart fought, my lungs clawed for air, my body refused to surrender. She pulled away, her face stricken with horror. No, not yet. You're not ready, she cried. She tried to stop the bleeding, her cold hands pressing against my wound, her eyes wide with something I had never seen in her before. I remember nothing after that, only waking up in a hospital bed, alive, weak, my neck bandaged. They told me I had been found unconscious near the ruins, bloodied and near death. They said it was a miracle I survived, but I know the truth. Elara is still with me. I feel her in the corner of my room, watching, waiting. I hear her voice when the night grows silent, calling me, begging me to finish what we began. Sometimes I wake to find her lying beside me, her hair spread across my pillow, her lips curved in that same haunting smile. And though I know she will one day claim me, though I know my soul is already hers, I do not resist. Because love, true love, cursed love, eternal love cannot be explained. It can only be lived. And I would rather burn in the fires of her embrace than ever feel the cold absence of her again.